Next, we have the most brilliant letting agent in Coventry, who's going to give us an update on inventories tonight. Aren't you?
Well, you asked for something positive, so...
Absolutely. It's coming for the last 6 months, and every story's been negative, so I wanted a positive one. So thank you very much, Anthony. Can we have a round of applause for Anthony?
Yes, I do apologise. I've been giving you a barrage of bad news for the last couple of months. New legislation. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a rest this month. So I'm going to be talking about something called inventories, which people may think to themselves, she's a document. I read up a spreadsheet. That'll do the job. Well, I'm going to give you some examples this evening of why you shouldn't be so slapdash, if that is the case still. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to change your views on that by the end of this presentation. So, a quick show of hands of people that are doing full, detailed inventories for properties that they manage. Well, that's beautiful. Okay. Well, hopefully I'll change your mind on the fact of the time spent on inventories by the end of this presentation. Okay, so what is an inventory? It's a record of a property prior to a let taking place. Condition, cleanliness, and obviously the items within the property itself. Very, very important. You go into great detail on the actual items within the property. You may think to yourself, that's just the airing cupboard. I don't need to take a photo of that. But you'd be surprised. All of a sudden, where do people store all their belongings if they don't need them in their bedrooms? All of a sudden it gets crushed into this little cupboard. All these different things that you consider that, they're not going to make use of that, they're not going to make use of that. Please, cover yourself from every angle. As I always emphasise with anything in lettings, please ensure you document absolutely everything. So obviously, do you need an inventory? Absolutely. If, for example, you've got a fantastic property, you're moving these saints that are moving into your property that are going to be the best tenants you've ever found. And yes, you're thinking, wow, they're going to be the perfect tenants. All of a sudden, a change of circumstances, all of a sudden they're not quite so saintly as you thought they were going to be. But you didn't do an inventory at the start, or you just did a quick slapdash inventory. A spreadsheet, for example. But everything was, everything was there. I've got some applications that I took a couple of months ago, so that'll do. All of a sudden, the hob doesn't work, the cooker doesn't work, the microwave's broken, the window's broken, the lock's broken. You don't have an inventory, all of a sudden you're exposed. All of a sudden you've not got proof of what the condition of that property was at the start of the tenancy. No inventory, no win, like a little phrase that I like to use now. Please ensure that you document everything. So, inventory tips, full descriptions, colour, materials, cleanliness, condition, everything. Now, as an organisation, we've got many lets that we do each and every year. And yes, it's very time consuming, the fact that we have to do these inventories, photo inventories, ensuring everything is date stamped, ensuring that you've got it as close to the start of a tenancy as possible. Everything. It's so important being proactive to ensure that it doesn't come and bite you in the butt at the end of a tenancy when a tenant hasn't done anything to the standard that they should have done when they're giving you it back. That's how it's like that when I moved in. You've got photos of everything. Skirting boards, light shades, bulbs that are working, light switches, plug sockets, the carpet, everything. Please ensure that you've got every bit of detail. An app that we use is called Inventory Hive. It may well cost you a little bit to have these sorts of apps that you use with an iPad or your iPhone to make sure you've got details of everything. It's so important. There's another one we've used as well, which is an end circle. So please do investigate those to see if those two work for you. Obviously ensure that the tenants agree with the tenancy agreements, not the tenancy agreement, sorry, the inventory itself, and that they sign for it. It may well be that, I'm not happy signing for it yet. We'll say to them, don't worry, there's a clause at the back here that says you've got 7 days to come back to us with any amendments to this inventory and documented amendments with photos. If they don't come back to you in those 7 days, it will be assumed that the inventory is full and correct. And with the apps like Inventory Hub, as I was saying to you, it will give that option in there and make sure that they obviously conform to that actual rule itself. So, as I said, innocent until proven guilty. There's been, in past years, I know that we're part of a group on Facebook, which is a number of letting agencies that share funny stories or learnings that occur. And they talked of very much, if there is a dispute with a deposit and deductions that you've taken off a tenant, very much a case of they are innocent until proven guilty. It does tend to be that they edge towards the tenant in the fact of what actually occurs, even whatever evidence that you provide. So, I'll give you an example. Freshly painted. This was on a landlord's inventory, on a spreadsheet. It was freshly painted. So your picture is lovely magnolia, plush, looking fantastic condition. Now it tended that this tenant had a bit of a barney with their landlord. So, bearing in mind, I returned it freshly painted. It's an extreme, but it can happen. Now, in addition to that, there was a landlord that bought himself a lovely oak furniture land, table and chairs, spent about £1,000. What did he put on his inventory? There was photos a couple of months before when he was doing the refurb, but they were advertising photos, they weren't date stamped. Spent an absolute fortune. What got returned? Detail everything, the condition, the item itself, when it was bought, all these different things you need to prove with the inventory that you provide. Admittedly, these are in extremes, but it can happen to you, so please make sure all the detail of the actual item itself is put on there. The common deductions, bathrooms, kitchen, cupboards, ovens, fridges, skirting boards. Please make sure, for example, in a multi-let, tenants leave food behind in the cupboards. Oh, yeah, guy in room 5, it'll just have my bits. And you'll end up with tins that went out of date about 4 or 5 years ago. Please make sure that they clean out everything, because otherwise it'll end up being you that does it a couple of months down the line. Cupboards, fridges, ovens, skirting boards, mattresses and beds. Tenant spills a drink on a mattress, they're going to just flip it over. Oh, the landlord won't notice. Make sure that you look on both sides of the bed. Your inventories have photos of both sides of the bed, as well as the slats, as well as the bed base, for example, if it's a divan, of the condition it was in before the tenancy started. Obviously with the date stamps. In addition to that, obviously making sure left belongings. This is where I was saying to you about the airing cupboard that no one uses. Oh, no, don't worry about that. I don't need to take a picture in there. The condition what it was before they started, where they're going to store their belongings that they don't want in their pristine bedroom, but all the communal areas, we'll try and squeeze stuff in there. The airing cupboard where, I don't know, the airing cupboard used to be, or the hot water tank, or even where the meters are underneath the stairs. Please make sure you take photos of absolutely everything. Hopefully that's a few little tips that you'll pick up for yourselves if you're managing your own portfolio, or even that your letting agent is making sure that they do exactly the same thing. So as I was saying, the apps were Inventory Hive and Encircle. Hopefully they'll be able to give you some help. Thank you very much.
Thank you.